Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 9:12 a.m. on a beautiful Friday, September 26th, year of our Lord 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America, the place where the brave, like the veterans we salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. We lost them, but celebrate them. Like Edward Trentley, South Scranton. Edward Lyons, Spider, Trips Park section of West Scranton. Harry Granville, Carbondale. Attorney Leo McCormick, East Mountain section of Scranton. Ralph Smolinack, Mountaintop. And Don Wills Simpson. The United States of America, the country founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible founding fathers that the government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right. Means they can't take it away. Granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Doesn't matter how they use it. Doesn't matter if they lie. We know better. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because we had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so we can now safely gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that because of our commitment to common sense, we will provide a sanctuary for all of you for the balance of this morning, and a much-needed one. There are still people spouting insanity and lies, the left, the globalists, the establishment, but there's one less, at least for the moment, Jim Comey. By the way, nobody takes a federal indictment more seriously than I do. I don't welcome it for anyone else. Then there's the word but. Jim Comey is one of just a lower life form. One of these people who got by because he was tall. He's about 6'9". And he had that Boy Scout look. And he had the Boy Scout act, which was all an act. He was all about his own image. You really can't point to a good job he did anywhere. You really can't. But because he was tall, and because he was eloquent, and because he was so self-righteous, people were afraid to cross the guy. We're going to have our federal legal expert, Brian Kelly, on at 11:35 today to talk about this indictment. But Comey was a liar. He was an establishment and swamp creature. And as someone just said, good morning and greetings, Bob, ALTS. My sources tell me that President Trump was walking along the beach when he came upon a seashell formation that spelled out "Indict Comey." I'd say that falls under the category of karma. The crying left wing should keep in mind that the FBI director was indicted by the citizens. Unfortunately, the judge selected as a Magoo appointee. Well, look at it's that part of Virginia. It's look, anything could happen in a trial setting, but the guy admitted that he leaked to the media through his friend. He also lied under oath repeatedly to Congress. He was part of a conspiracy to undermine the Trump presidency in the first term. He was the swamp. He was the establishment. He's the epitome of all of that. But see, I am hoping, and signs are good, I am hoping they are not done. There are so many more. I talked to this about you before. James Clapper, Brennan, McCabe, also admitting he leaked illegally. Struck. Yeah. There are a lot of people, a lot of swampers that need to be prosecuted. And let us hope this is just the beginning. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Oh, I am wearing my fluorescent green Dunmore DPW shirt given to me by my man Homer. I love this shirt. The neighbors were offering me their garbage as I was walking along. I said, no, I'm not on duty right now. I'm not on duty. And notice, I live in Scranton. I said, notice it's Dunmore DPW, so I have no responsibility. We have our own guys in Scranton. But I'm wearing it today proudly. You can see it on the, if you go to WILKNewsRadio.com, you press watch, you'll see this lovely, lovely shirt. We'll take a break and be back. They were anything but the Monotones, Murph says, this date, 1957, recorded their hit, Book of Love. And then 1960, you heard Howard K. Smith. Just that voice, so familiar, so comfortable. The first ever debate between presidential nominees, Kennedy-Nixon. Probably Nixon's biggest strategic mistake was to debate Kennedy. Nixon had more depth than JFK. Obviously, no doubt about it. He had a ton more experience. But JFK he was more likable. And on the surface, more admirable. And all of those things came to play with Nixon overestimating himself a bit. And but people forget this, a largely unknown senator because he hadn't done anything as a senator. Yeah, they wrote a book for him and bought copies of it so that Profiles in Courage, so that, raising his stature. But he was a war hero. But Nixon was also in World War II. But Nixon, he made a mistake there. There's no doubt about it. Somebody texted in, and this one I'm scratching my head. So you'll have to send me another text or call, which, by the way, you can do 570-883-0098. The way you describe Comey is sadly how I see Hegseth in his own way. I see zero parallels between James Comey and Pete Hegseth. I mean, literally nothing. I'm actually, you've made me very curious as to what you could even be thinking. I'm not even criticizing you. I'm just like, what? I saw that text and I was like, what? Somebody texting, I can't help feel that Comey's taking the sword for his dear leader, Obama, since he was FBI director while Obama was prez, and we know how loyal so many government workers are to Obama still to this day. So the FBI director perjuring himself seems not an accident. Look, Obama did plenty, but he's got presidential immunity. So there's no need to protect him. But this clown, in his sanctimonious idiocy, Comey, did a lot. And he undermined the presidency, the first term of Donald Trump, illegally. And he lied repeatedly on FISA warrants that he signed onto. And he played the games and he leaked. Remember, he presented the P-tape information to Donald Trump in what was supposed to be a briefing. And as soon as he did that, that gave Brennan the ability to leak it to CNN, which he then got a lucrative job with. Oh, what a surprise. No, all these slime balls got to go down. All these swamp creatures, they've got to go down. And somebody points out, ironically, the only people indicted are Republicans so far. What gives? Well, they're the low-hanging fruit. Brennan's coming next. I believe Clapper's coming next. I believe McCabe admitted he broke the law. So where are we going with him? And maybe the only reason they don't indict McCabe is because he'll be the main witness against Comey. How they'll explain the conflicts in their testimony before Congress, I don't know. Yeah. Hi, Bob. It's Gene from Bucks Township. There's words that coming out on Twitter that Comey's son-in-law just resigned his position. I believe he has something to do with all this. He was also on the payroll with Comey and knows he's guilty, in my view. Well, you may be thinking of Comey's daughter. I'm not aware of his son-in-law. But, by the way, I could see that Thanksgiving table, each of them sitting there talking about how great they all are. and how virtuous they all are. I mean, as soon as somebody tells me how virtuous they are or how great they are, that includes Donald Trump, I question. The difference with Trump is he somehow delivers. He's like one of the, I tell people, I said he's like one of those, like a trash-talking teammate on football. It motivates him somehow to do this stuff. But, yeah, I could see the Comeys all sitting around. Oh, haven't we really done great for ourselves in America? And aren't we the epitome of America? Yeah. Lying, backstabbing, maneuvering. Yeah. And now indicted. A friend of mine sent me a book about James Comey in prison. I was furious. And I mean, they didn't mean anything by it. And I was actually going to say, how dare you send me a book about James Comey while I'm in federal prison? But I said, they weren't thinking of that. I never read it. It's one of the few books I didn't read. Disgrace. He's a disgraceful human being. He really, truly is. All right, we've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We will come back and do our Veterans Tribute. And then we've got a lot more coming. Oh, we got Weekend Warrior. We've got the Pie Man. We've got Brian Kelly. Oh, information galore on everything you could imagine. We'll be back. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. Cutie and I were at a Terra 519 last night. I just love it. Well, this weekend, as you're thinking about what to do, think a Terra 519. The Old Brook Inn, Far Street Tavern, Queen City Tavern, fine dining at the Stegmeyer in Wilkes-Barre, a Terra 519 downtown Scranton, the nightclub Sergei's, the Scranton Art House. My son was telling me a movie I've got to see, and that's where I'm going to see it. Edward Trentley. He was 77. He was from South Scranton. We lost him last year on December 21st. Born in Philadelphia, a graduate of the great Scranton Technical High School. He attended Lackawanna Junior College and was a member of St. Peter's Cathedral Parish in Scranton. Edward served proudly as a corporal in the 3rd Battalion, 4th Marine Regiment in Vietnam. He was a member of the Marine Corps League in the VFW Post 25. His former wife, Madeline, 3 daughters, grandchildren, 3 brothers, 4 sisters survive him, preceded in death by a brother and a sister. He worked as a government employee for over 40 years. Kind and gentle person. Great family. Edward Trentley. Edward Spider Lyons. Another guy I knew. Trip Sparks section of West Scranton. In fact, he had a store right across the street from the great Far Street Tavern. He died at age 79, July 30th, last year. We didn't know he was sick. I didn't. Preceded in death by his adored wife, Nancy. They'd been married for 47 years. He was a graduate of West Scranton High School before attending Penn State University. Spider, he served 6 years in the United States Army Reserves and Army National Guard. He began his career at Honeywell International, serving over 27 years as an account executive with Siemens Global Building Technologies prior to retirement. Certainly a West Side legend, and he was. To know Spider was to love him. His humor, generosity, and huge heart made him endearing to all. He was one of those guys, the first time you met him, you knew him for life. Remember the Elmhurst Country Club, and he played at Pine Hills on Monday night. Loved a good cigar, a cold beer, cards, odds, all of that. Above all, loved his daughters and grandchildren. Longtime member of St. Patrick's Church, West Scranton. I did not know this. He was an Eagle Scout. He was a car enthusiast. Nicknames included Eddie, Ed, Spider, Spy, Nostradamus, Donkey. He's survived by his 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren who called him Grampy Spy. My old pal Eddie Lyons. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, morning clouds, then mostly sunny, 77 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, 58. Saturday, partly sunny with chance of showers south of Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, 77 degrees. Sunday, partly sunny, high 77. All right, that's the deal. The Stones. One of my least favorite Stones songs for whatever reason, but this date, 1964, Murph tells us they released their hit, Time Is On My Side. Bob Cordaro back with you. And before that, look at the economy's going well. It's not rocket science. You reduce government spending, you reduce government regulations, and you let the energy complex go wild. That's the three things the government can control. Trump knows it. Three legs of the stool. Somebody asked me, what's your email, Bob, and where can it be found on the WILK page? I don't know about the WILK page. Robert.Cordaro, Cordaro, at Odyssey, AUDACY.com. Robert.Cordaro at Odyssey, AUDACY.com. Hey, my man Mark from Kingston texted this in. Now, he mentions it in the context of Abe Lincoln, but I will mention it in the context of Charlie Kirk. It says, the martyr suffers for the truth, for God, and in that suffering, he's transfigured. The assassin, on the other hand, also kills for what he believes to be a higher cause, but his act is a perversion of the same fervor. For the assassin, the work is not done in faith, but in despair. He sacrifices life not for something eternal, but for his own cause, his own ego, his own delusion. The martyr's work has just begun. The assassin's, though it may seem like an end, is a dead end. Soren Kierkegaard. You hear about Kierkegaard, you hear that name thrown around. Well, there's incredible wisdom back from the 1800s by Soren Kierkegaard. Man, does it, I mean, it nails it. It absolutely nails it as far as the Charlie Kirk assassination. And my guy Mark from Kingston wasn't done yet. He sent something from T.S. Eliot, who says half of the harm that is done in this world is due to people who want to feel important. They don't mean to do harm, but the harm does not interest them either way. Yeah. James Comey. Timeless. T.S. Eliot. Somebody said the Comey and Russia collusion is no different. The only thing, he's now being prosecuted for lying to Congress. Somebody said, Bob, there's a big difference between breaking the law and retribution. It's like if someone cheats on their taxes and does not get caught, they still cheated. Yep. Ginny C. wants to know, where's Teflon Hillary in all this? See, you've got statute of limitations issues. You got to remember on the Comey thing, the statute of limitations is going to run next Tuesday. And I love the fact, well, Trump just gets too involved with anything. And now, I apologize. I got a text from somebody that was interested in, but regardless, James Comey is the poster boy for phony establishment swamp. And he should go first. Hillary, she's just a complete disgrace and completely discredited. But the statute of limitations issues are real. And Comey could have skated if they didn't move on it now. Everybody says, well, why now? Well, you got to do it or you leave it go and let this guy get away with breaking the law, flouting what he even would say is appropriateness. I mean, leaking information illegally to get a special counsel appointed? Well, what? These are sick people. Trump's not wrong on that point. They're really sick. And it's about time they faced some retribution and certainly accountability for their crimes. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, 570-883-0098. Keep the texts coming, and you could call as well. The Kinks. They debuted on the U.S. charts, Murph says, with their first hit. You really got, that was their first? Wow. This date, 1964. And how about that? On the same day, in the same year, Gilligan's Island premiering on CBS. Love that song. I was always in between. Whether I was a ginger or and I was a little kid, but they were just both so beautiful. I was a ginger or a Marianne, and I think everybody figured, well, Marianne will be more approachable. So I think she probably won that debate, percentage-wise. But what a great show. And don't forget the professor from Ashley, a World War II hero. The professor on Gilligan's Island. We love him. Hey, my man Gary sent me a report. We'll find out who it's from, and we'll find out if there's follow-up on it. But you know that Barack Obama, it so epitomizes the left and the swamp and the establishment and creatures like the Obamas. Millions of dollars sent to Barack Obama's foundation that was supposed to build his insane presidential library, which is now morphed into a 19-acre campus with a museum, athletic facility, fruit and vegetable gardens. What? Well, $2 million of the money for the building and the Obama Library were instead sent to the Tides Foundation in 2022 and 2023. It was earmarked to support local organizations that are working to reduce violence in communities. Unbelievable. This is what they do. Now, the Tides Foundation, also funded by George Soros, is a network which operates as a fiscal sponsor for groups that have not registered with the IRS as charities. In other words, they launder money. The third-party grant-making group is currently under scrutiny by the House Ways and Means Committee for handling donations for anti-Israel groups, such as the Adala Justice Project, Samaduan, and the People's Forum. These groups help set up pro-Palestinian demonstrations and college encampments. Remember that? After the Hamas attacks that killed 1,200 in Israel. Tides has also handled donations for Black Lives Matter Global Network. This is the group that, because of egregious mismanagement, $33 million in their funds, they don't know where the hell they went. Yeah, well, we do. They bought houses for the people, the lesbian African Americans who hate families, who founded it, Black Lives Matter. In addition to sending donations to Tides, the Obama Foundation has sent more than $3 million in 2022 and 23 to GoFundMe for undisclosed grassroots leaders to empower girls to educate. Do you see this? This is what they do. It's a circle jerk. I tell you this. Meanwhile, the foundation admitted it has so far spent more than $615 million building the Obama Presidential Center. Wow. It's not scheduled to open until the spring of 2026. He left office 10 years earlier. Now, the group, which just received only $129,000 in donations in 22, spent more than $27 million on salaries. Among the highest paid board members, this is like the Clinton Foundation. This is the circle jerk we talk about. The nonprofits, the NGOs. Among the highest paid board members, Valerie Jarrett, former senior advisor to President Obama, $750,000 in 2023. Robin Cohen, executive vice president of the Obama Presidential Center, she got $650,000 in 2023. Former president of the, see if you recognize this name, the Pritzker Realty Group. Founded by Penny Pritzker, the brother of J.B. Pritzker. The people who landed on third base with a big lead going to home. the Pritzkers, and now they're geniuses. The center, which is located in Jackson Park on the city's south side and taking up 20 acres, is still under construction and rises like a concrete monolith out of the ground. The original budget was $500 million. They're not even finished at $650. As somebody said, it's a monstrosity, taking way too long to finish, and it's going to drive up prices and bring headaches and problems for everyone who lives there. It feels like a washing away of the neighborhood and the culture that used to be here, says Ken Woodward, a lawyer and father of 6 who grew up in the area. Neither the Obama Foundation nor the Office of Barack and Michelle Obama returned requests for comment Thursday. Thank you, Gary. Unbelievable. This is what they do. This is what they do. Oh, did I say Mark was from Kingston? I apologize. He's from Hazleton. He's the guy who sent us the Kierkegaard and T.S. Eliot quotes. Unbelievable. Bob, somebody takes in. Bob, I just heard mention of my cousin, Professor Russell Johnson. Thanks. Signed Ron from Mountaintop. Ron, what a great man. What a great man in your family. The best. Poet Joe says he thinks Ginger was a little bit too much high maintenance. Marianne was cute as a button, but let's not forget Mrs. Howell. Show me the money. If you want to marry for money, she was married. Come on, stop it. Lovey was happy with Thurston. In any event, yeah, crazy stuff. This is what they do, and they replicate it over and over again. They pay themselves salary. They get rich people's money, guilty people's money, and they get government money, and they get foundation money. And they all pay themselves these salaries, and it feeds on itself. And they use it against us for themselves. The Obama Foundation. Clinton Foundation was as bad or worse. Raising money from all over the place. Governments, this, that. Oh, they're going to administrate aid to Haiti. They do nothing except lather themselves. Well, my Bacardi Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:01 and change. So that means it's time for the news. But we remind you, Bacardo watch brands, Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, and of course my own Bacardo Jewelers watch. And as they say, and it's true, and more. Stop at the store, visit with Alex and his uncles, and I'm telling you, Jefferson Avenue, Spruce Street, catty corner from the Radisson. You'll love the place. Have a cocktail, have a espresso, all of that. Good stop. We'll be back. Great. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful Friday, September 26, 2025. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:10 and change. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost, but celebrate today thanks to John, like Edward Spider Lyons, West Scranton, Edward Trentley, South Scranton, Harry Granville, Carbondale, Attorney Leo McCormick, East Mountain section of Scranton, Ralph Smolinack, Mountaintop, and Donald Wills, Simpson. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense as we promise you a sanctuary of sanity for the balance of the morning. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa, we got to get to. Couple more comments from listeners on the Gilligan's Island. I'm telling you, the show touched everybody. And it's a shame if all you saw was the remake movie. You got to go back and watch the series. But Ron from Mountaintop is a cousin to Professor Russell Johnson. Someone asked me, well, what about the professor and Marianne? I never saw anything other than a friendly relationship between the two. Somebody else says Mr. Howell had a mistress. Nah, I didn't see that. Let's stick what was in the show. But yeah, many of you agree that Ginger appeared to be too high maintenance and unapproachable. So you got to go Marianne. Hey, Mother Teresa. I missed yesterday, forgot, so we've got two quickies for today. And even the short ones are so poignant, so important. So for September 25th, she says, no matter how tired you are, no matter how physically exhausting your life may be, make it a priority to care for someone in need. What greater joy can there be? And now for today. She said, I believe God loves the world through us, through you, and through me. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Mark from Hazleton, he's on fire today. He's emailing me. He says, during any of the episodes of Gilligan's Island, whenever the professor spoke about something complex, he always said it in a way you understood. He really actually did. You're right. Oh, Lord. We all have those kind of people, the people you turn to to ask, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? The professor on Gilligan's Island. Well, here's a professor of a different sort. He is the weekend warrior. He's got our football picks for the weekend. He is Sid Hallinan. How are you, my man, Sid?
Good, Bobby. How's everything going
I
today?
should introduce you as the former head coach of the St. Anthony's Hawks.
Yeah, and I'm still coaching, Bob.
Love it, love it. And you and Bob Marzolino were the team, just the best.
Oh, yeah, we were like the Road Warriors, buddy, but we're still running around together, so that didn't change.
Love it, love it. All right, well, Sid, were you a Ginger or a Marianne?
I know Ginger was high maintenance, but I'll shoot for you know me. I'll go for the hard thing there, and I'll put odds on her there. I'll go with Ginger.
All right. Well, did you know that the professor was from Ashley?
No, I didn't know that. Yeah,
and a World War Professor Russell Johnson. He was a World War II hero as well.
Oh, okay.
Amazing,
Well,
yeah.
that's good to know. That's
Love it.
amazing. And the great show. That was a tremendous show.
It was. All right. Well, Sid, let's go to our subject at hand, which is football. Heading into well, what happened last night? It was a game I didn't even bother to turn on.
I watched it till half, Bobby, and that was it for me.
What was it, Seattle?
I
and
had
who?
no interest in it.
Seattle and who?
Seattle and Arizona.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it on Amazon or what was it on?
Yeah, it was on Amazon.
So I wasn't going to look through. I got a complicated TV situation. I wasn't going to look through it. I said, well, the hell with it.
Yeah, I had it on for a little bit, and that was it.
All right.
Called it a day, buddy.
I was wondering why you didn't mind moving to Friday because there was nothing to talk about on Thursday. Yeah.
No, there was no interest in the game. A lot of people didn't have much of an interest in it, so
well,
we go.
We're rolling into the weekend, and the college games are starting to get bigger. Tell me what you're looking at tomorrow.
Well, absolutely. I like two college games, Bobby. Tomorrow afternoon, I like the Georgia. No, I'm sorry. These two are tomorrow night. Right. I like Georgia minus 2.5 over Alabama. Georgia is, they're ranked 4th or 5th. Georgia could be the first or second best team in the country. Gunnar Stockton is not being mentioned at all for the Heisman. Their quarterback, keep an eye on him. He's played outstanding. So I'm going to take Georgia over Bama tomorrow night. And Penn State and Oregon. I'm going to go with Penn State minus 3.5.
Is this a loyalty thing, a homer thing, or what? Talk to me.
Well, the last 2 years, I'm 0-6 with them. So, I mean, this has to end sooner or later. It's got to end sooner or later. You're at home. It's a whiteout. They had a week off. My big thing is that if they lose, what excuse is he going to come up with now, Franklin?
Mm-hmm.
They have to win this game.
I'll tell you, I haven't rooted for Penn State since they got rid of Paterno, and then what they did to those kids that were not even associated with the incident at the fraternity. I'm anti-PSU. I just am.
No, I know you've mentioned that before in the past.
If the Paterno statue comes back, I'll open my mind up again.
Maybe we could put it down to Dunmore Corners next to the Lions sitting on the bench down there by the bank.
Well, maybe we'll get the same guy who did that statue to do the one at Dunmore for Hens's. I said the statue of Hens's at the Dunmore football field looks like Klaatu from the day the earth stood still.
Yeah, it looks like he's holding a bowling ball. It doesn't even look like a football.
All right.
Let's watch what we say about that, Bob.
I know. So Georgia PSU Saturday, then we get into the NFL Sunday. What do you got, my man?
I'm going with my Birds minus 3.5 over Tampa. They have our number, but I think this Sunday the Birds get over the top with this. I'm still laughing at that win last week, and not just the win, but they covered.
Yes, in the most improbable fashion.
Tampa Bay's been Jalen Hurts' kryptonite, but I think Sunday they go over the top. They get this one.
Okay, what else?
I also like the Rams minus 3 over Indy. The Rams, emotional loss, obviously, to the Eagles last week. Indy's been playing very well. Daniel Jones has been playing off the charts, but I think the Rams will be extra motivated to win this one. I'm going to take the Rams.
And are the Rams at home?
The Rams are at home, yeah.
So, they're coming off that loss. They are going to be out for blood, and I think Indiana's overrated.
A little bit, yeah.
It's still Dan Jones.
Hasn't been that hard.
We watched his act. He's going to have a bad game. All right, what else?
He could. And here's one, too, that I think I'm surprised the line hasn't moved yet. I'm going to take Baltimore minus 2.5 over Kansas City. I think for that same reason, Baltimore handed that game away last week. KC is still floundering. They can't find their identity. I think if you've watched them, offensively, they didn't look good against the Eagles. They didn't look good against the Giants. Baltimore loaded with talent on the offensive side of the ball, especially with Lamar. I'm going to take Baltimore minus the 2.5.
You like teams when they're coming off good teams when they're coming off a loss?
Oh, you notice everything. Yeah, I do. You know, especially a team as explosive as the Ravens are.
Yeah. Any other games?
One more for you, buddy. Don't understand why this line is 6.5. If it was in Green Bay, it'd probably be 10. I'm looking for the Pack to come back after that debacle last week against Cleveland. 6.5 over Dallas. I don't think it's that much. I'm going to take Green Bay at Dallas. The Micah Parsons reunion, or Micah Parsons Bowl, they're calling it Sunday night.
Okay.
This game could maybe get out of control. Dallas's defense is not good. Dak has a great game. Maybe they could stay in it. But Green Bay's another team should be ornery after handing that game away to Cleveland last Sunday.
Do you remember the old days? I'm talking 60s and early 70s when Dallas and Green Bay, what games they were.
Oh, yeah, that was great football.
Oh, amazing.
You know?
Amazing.
You know how old we are, Bob? When you tell these kids about Jim Brown, they say, who?
I might not have even seen Jim Brown play. I started at Leroy Kelly for Cleveland. I didn't remember Jim Brown. Yeah,
and he wasn't bad, Bobby. He wasn't bad.
Not bad. The Weekend Warrior, Sid Allen, and his picks are in. They're locked. We're ready to go. Have a great weekend, Bob. Sid. We'll talk to you again.
You too, Bobby. Thank you.
All right. That's the Weekend Warrior. That's Sid Hallinan. I like his picks. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Beatles. Not a bad song. I don't know what the words mean. I'm sure. Well, if you do, let me know. Come Together. This date, 1969. Murph says they released their last album, the last one they recorded as a group, Abbey Road. And before that, what a red letter. And I don't know if that's a positive or negative connotation, but what a positive, amazing day for jurisprudence in this country. Because in 1986, this date, William Rehnquist sworn in as the Chief Justice, the 16th, and Antonin Scalia joined the Supreme Court as its 103rd member. Wow. Well, that's just a great day for jurisprudence in this country. Amazing. Somebody takes in, Bob, remember Mr. Howell, Jim Backus, was also the voice of Mr. Magoo, also known as Joe Biden. Please don't smear Mr. Magoo by comparing him to Biden. So he says, Bob, you're right. Get rid of dark money, shut down the illegitimate nonprofits, which watch then how America becomes greater than ever before. I think what Trump could do, he could say through regulations, through the IRS, you cannot be a nonprofit. You cannot have nonprofit status unless your maximum salary is like $150,000 a year. Pick a number. These are all scams. So many are scams. Somebody else saying the only way to stop the insane globalist agenda is to follow the money trail and get rid of Antifa and others that are harming America. But it's a much more subtle thing. The nonprofits have become launderers. They do money laundering. Look at the Department of Energy and the $93 billion they released after Biden lost after Kamala lost the election. $93 billion. $2 billion to Stacey Abrams Group. And they pay themselves exorbitant salaries. The money never gets to even the ridiculous cause they list. And that's why I cite the Obama Foundation, which is doing the same thing. Somebody said, Bobby, who does Penn State play next weekend? The University of Phoenix? Yeah. Somebody says, Bob, just remember, Ginger's so high maintenance that two actresses had to play her. One was Tina Louise and the other Judith Baldwin. I did not know that, as Johnny Carson would say. I did not know that. But Tina Louise got a second berth in the show Dallas, one of my favorites, as JR's secretary. Yeah. Tina Louise. Oh, I look up. David Bergerhoff sent me something regarding free speech that I want to read. But David, for you, he loves the veterans tributes. He says LTS. By the way, somebody asking, is LTS like an insider thing? No, it's our thing. LTS means love the show. And I say back at you because you guys are part of the show. You guys make the show. And I don't say that to be self-deprecating. I say that because it's true. All the information the listeners get, the interaction that the listeners create, and by the way, you don't have the show without listeners. Some people on radio and TV, like Jimmy Kimmel, don't understand that. Anyway, he's got some veterans, 2 buried at Arlington in his family. Well, David, number one, I'll try to get to your statement on free speech, but you got my email, let's get to honoring them. Look up their obituaries, get some information on them, let's do it, let's honor them. 2 family members at Arlington, that's beyond an honor. All right, it is time. We've got to take this break. We want to hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back. We'll do this hour's Veterans Tribute. We'll do the weather. We got a little snippet to play for you, and then we're back at you. 570-883-0098 to get in touch and be part of the program today. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our friend John Basiliga and his great family of companies, featuring today Basiliga Hospitality because, hey, it's the weekend. Looking for a bar, restaurant to hang around, watch a game, whatever. Check out the Far Street Tavern. Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Old Brook Inn, 307 in Springbrook Township. And the Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. You want to see a movie? I think I'm in for that this weekend. The Scranton Art House on Lackawanna Avenue. Favorite adult beverages, favorite food while you're watching the movie. It's not just popcorn. But by the way, John figured out the formula for the best popcorn I've ever had. Nightclubs, Sergei's, live, 519 Linden Street, Scranton. It is the place to be. I got to go last weekend. Fine dining, the best. You don't need to go to New York. You don't need to go to Philly. Atera 519 downtown Scranton, the Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. Harry Granville. He passed away at age 82, September 19th. He was from Carbondale. Born in that great city, a 1962 graduate of Benjamin Franklin High School. He was a self-employed carpenter most of his life. He proudly served us in the U.S. Army. He was a disabled veteran. Survived by 2 brothers, 7 sisters, and sadly preceded in death by 5 additional brothers. The Granville family, the great Granville family from Carbondale, and veteran Harry Granville. Attorney Leo McCormack, East Mountain section of Scranton. He passed away at age 96 last October 8th, 2024. His wife, the former Jean Bradigan, she passed away in 1982. He was also preceded in death tragically by an infant son, John. Born in Scranton, Scranton Central High School graduate, he served us in the United States Navy during World War II, stationed in Guam in the South Pacific. After his service, he graduated from the University of Scranton and Georgetown University School of Law. He clerked to Judge Thomas Quinn in the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. He was a trial attorney for the tax division of the Department of Justice. He returned to Scranton after an illustrious career in D.C., originally joining Nogi, O'Malley, and Harris, and then forming his own firm, Kennedy, O'Brien, McCormick, and Mulcahy. He retired in 2020. He was a guy we all looked up to as attorneys. He was on the Third National Bank Board, Scranton Chamber of Commerce, the Bar Association, Housing Authority under Mayor Eugene Hickey. A big golfer at the University of Scranton. Subway alumnus of Notre Dame University. Surviving are his daughter, along with nieces, nephews, including nephew William Egan, who was especially close to him. A great attorney, Navy man, attorney Leo McCormack. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast, meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, morning clouds, then mostly sunny. 77 degrees. We're at 68 outside the studios as I speak. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 58. Saturday, partly sunny with a chance of showers south of Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, 77 degrees. Sunday, partly sunny, 77 degrees. Okay. We'll take it. We'll take it. always start off with a laugh with the mayor misspelling Eagles and, of course, our own John Fetterman. But speaking of which, the Pie Man, he cometh. How are you, Pie Man?
Happy Friday. I'm great, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing even better now. We had the Weekend Warrior on. Now we got you. Couldn't be better than that.
Great.
Peter
All
Della
right.
Porta.
That's right. You know, you got the first class in there, you know?
Well, I
Top
played
shelf.
that little thing before. I was saying this is better than prison, doing the disc jockey thing or whatever I'm called. So I played the thing from The Office. All right, Peter, let's go to it, baby. What is happening? The Weekend Warriors taking the Birds this weekend over Tampa Bay, even though he said that Baker Mayfield and Tampa have been kryptonite to the Eagles before this.
Well, that's true. Baker Mayfield is a tier one quarterback, has incredible mobility, and just seems to elude the Eagles' pass rush. And when that happens, we've seen that the receivers get open, and Baker Mayfield finds them the ball, and they score. But let's look at this in a larger picture, Bob. They're both 3-0, but the Eagles have played, Dallas, Kansas City, and the Rams.
Yep.
The Bucks have played the Falcons, the Texans, and the Jets. And if you saw the Jets game last week, they won by a hair in the last minute of the game. Mm-hmm. So, it's been infinitely more convincing victories. And again, shout out to your golf partner there, Vic Fangio. The adjustments he makes during the game, generally at halftime, it's just phenomenal. He's a wizard out there. He shut down the Cowboys the whole second half. And last week, he pretty much shut down the Rams to 6 points. The Eagles had 26 unanswered points. And if you saw that game, Bob, boy, was that a barn burner.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. The Eagles winning with the last play of the game.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis blocking
and covering. I mean,
yeah.
Astonishing.
And going out and scoring. It was unbelievable. Well, I mean, what the Weekend Warriors said also is they're going to be in Florida. Look at the size of the Eagles linemen, like Jalen Carter. Heat's going to be an issue.
This game's in Tampa Bay? I thought it was in Philly. I apologize.
No, it's in Tampa Bay. And,
all right.
He's going to be a monster issue down there. I mean, there are guys who are used to that, but, we're not up here. So... But anyway,
I don't know. I lived in Philly. There's nothing like Philadelphia humidity. I'd go to Florida in a second.
Right. Yeah. The Bucks do have their star wide receiver Mike Evans is not going to be playing with a hamstring injury, so they're a little bit. They should be able to take advantage of that. So my predictions, Bob. The over-under is 44. The odds are saying the Eagles are going to win by 3.5. And I'm picking the Eagles 27 to the Bucks 21.
All right.
It's going to be a war. It's going to be a game. It's going to be fun, Bob. So buckle up and get ready.
Is that a nighttime game or the afternoon game? What time is it at?
It's at 1 o'clock.
Oh, it's a first game. Okay. Oh, great.
They're going to be right in the middle of the heat.
Great. Love it. Pie Man, that's good stuff. That's important stuff. I love it. You came out 27-21 for the Eagles.
27-21 the Eagles.
We'll see how this works out. You and the Weekend Warrior on the same page.
I know that's a surprise to you for me to pick the Eagles.
Oh, no. Navy guy will text in. He'll let us know that he says, I predict that the Pie Man will predict the Eagle will win. Always a pleasure, my friend.
But Bob, the first 3 weeks we've been almost right on the button every week.
Amen. I love
we
it.
picked everyone, and the score's been almost exact to our prediction.
All right.
So we got a great track record, buddy. You and I.
This is the unindicted Pie Man, Peter Delaborda. Thanks, B. Ryder Cup this weekend. I don't want you to forget about it. We're going to play a little ditty from one of our American golfers at 11:35. Brian Kelly coming up to talk about the Comey indictment at the same time. Much more to come. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. We'll be back. John Lennon. Murph tells us he released his album Walls and Bridges this date, 1974. Whatever gets you through the night. He sang it with Elton John. I did not know that. By the way, my man, Weekend Warrior Sid Helen, he's out shopping and he ran into our mutual friend Jerry Conway, and he said he loved the bit about the Gilligan's Island. Yeah. Honest to God, those old shows, they, man, you never, you never forget them. They were that good. Somebody thanking me for clarifying LTS. And somebody else who's watching the program on live stream, they said, love the shirt. He says that could be LTS from now on. Love the shirt. Well, I can't wear the same. Cutie washes them before they're dirty, but I won't wear the shirt, the Dunmore DPW shirt, every day. But I mean, you never know. Maybe at some point I'll get enough DPW shirts dropped off that I can wear one every day. You never know. You never know. I'd love it. I don't think I could do the job, but I still love the shirts. All right, so I want to get to this thing that David Bergeroff sent regarding freedom. I don't agree with every sentence of it, but it's just an interesting point of view. He had emailed it to me. It says, we simply don't have free speech and have not for a very long time. Those who say you are free to say what you want but not free from consequences are not protecting free speech in the slightest. Yes, you should be able to say almost anything you want. You should be able to express yourself regardless of how hateful or vile. No words should be off the table. No statements aside from actual threats should be disallowed. Some justify violence because they don't like what was said. We define things as hate speech. Instead of having a debate and a discussion, we resort to extreme acts because we truly cannot say what we want. Facebook and SM, which I don't know what that is, has given us an amplified voice. However, we have lost the ability to actually express ourselves unfiltered and honestly. I believe much of what is going on in this nation is a direct result of our inability to simply walk away. I don't give a bleep what you say or how. Maybe I'll respond or maybe I won't, but I will not call for violence or even try to cancel you. I will not dox you. I may debate you. I may just block you. You're entitled to free speech. We should have a platform for uncensored free speech in this day and age. What we don't have to do is listen to you. Charlie's death proves we don't have free speech because his words were not met with rational or even irrational discourse in the end. He was murdered. Along with his death was the final breath of free speech. If we fail to recognize that free speech is no longer exists and reverse course, the violence will grow and all our freedoms will shrink. It is that important. I can't disagree with that at all. So thank you, David, for all of that. Important stuff, but free speech has consequences. And I don't say that the consequences, by the way, I do say the consequences cannot come from the government. They can come socially. They can come from your boss. Never from a murderer. Never from an assassin. Remember the Kierkegaard that we quoted earlier in the day, brought to us by Mark from Hazleton. But there are consequences to saying what you feel, saying what you believe, saying what you know. And by the way, the worst consequences in society seem to come from telling the truth. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:02, which means it's time for the news. High time for the news. Brian Hughes has that. We'll take a break. We'll be back after the news. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it is 11:08, and it's going to be 11:09 in 3 seconds here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Friday, September 26, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like attorney Leo McCormick, East Mountain section of Scranton, Harry Granville, Carbondale, Edward Spider Lyons, Tripp Sparks section of West Scranton, Edward Trentley, South Scranton, Ralph Smolinack, Mountaintop, and Donald Wills, Simpson. Veterans we lost but honor today thanks to John. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling back to order our meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world which has gone insane. Quick reminder, the 3 Attorney General candidates you have to vote against. Here's the sheet. Almost lost it. You've got to vote no on Wecht, Donahue, and Doherty. They're machine hacks who have perverted the Pennsylvania Constitution and the entire existence of the Supreme Court. Remember, this is the gang that intervened at the last minute in Lackawanna County when they were going to have an election, when they were going to, rather, an appointment for county commissioner, as the county charter says. They got involved as a favor, as Democrat hacks, and here we are. Amazing. So they've got to be voted against. They're a disgrace, a complete disgrace. Remember those names to vote no. Wecht, Donahue, Doherty. I'll keep telling you that. Crazy stuff. Hey, Navy guy checking. All right, Navy guy, I'm not understanding what you're saying in part. He says he doesn't like the Eagles. I get that. And he says, and Marianne all the way. He said she gives the same vibes as the flute player from American Pie. I don't know. That is such an obscure reference, Navy guy. Come on. By the way, somebody pointing out an obit, which I did rip from the Times Leader. And by the way, I'm telling you, versus the Citizen's Voice, it's not perfect, but it's so much better paper. It is so much better. And you can compare it side to side. So, in any event, but I got the obit from the Times Leader. Thank you for the reminder, because it wasn't in the Citizen's Voice for some reason. Air Force guy. He says, free speech guarantees a voice, not an audience. Amen. Consequence should be the destruction of one's position, not one's person. I'm with you on that. Is that Air Force guy? No, it isn't. I apologize. I gave mistaken credit there. Here's Air Force guy. That's another one of our great listeners. Consequence should be destruction of one's position, not one's person. Amen. Somebody pointing out Lovey from Gilligan's. I was never married in real life. Again, Johnny Carson. I did not know that. Bob LTS. All of our freedoms have consequences. Everything we say or do has a consequence. Some of it may be good, and some may be negative. It's up to each and every one of us to weigh the pros and cons of what we say and do on a daily basis. That's Air Force guy. Now, see, I have to talk for 3 hours. So you have to make a decision. Do you hold back, or do you say what you think? Now, what I do in order to say what I think is make sure I know what I'm talking about. And I've made a few mistakes here and there, but I mean, if it takes me 8 hours to prepare for the next day's show, I take 8 hours. And by the way, you guys, and I'm talking about dozens of you, send me information either on a regular, semi-regular basis, or importantly, when I need it to help me prepare so I can say what I want, having a basis in it. And I got to tell you, except for a couple of sort of side issues, because of you, I haven't been proven wrong yet. And I'm not saying that out of arrogance. I'm saying that out of truth. Somebody texts in, I love how these left-wing loser Democrats are trying to convince everyone that their rhetoric isn't causing their extremists in the party to commit murder when it's exactly what's going on. Could you imagine if a Republican shot a prominent Democrat and carved in right-wing rhetoric on the casings of the bullets? How the Democrats would react? Look at how they still talk about January 6th. Says our newly returned and our new father, Tom from Dallas. Somebody said, Bob, I wrote their names down. I will not vote for them. Remember that. Wecht, Donahue, Doherty. Disgrace. I like the alliteration, too. Navy guy's still talking about this flute girl. I can't even read half of what he said. Yeah, somebody says, wasn't it also the state Supreme Court who, with no legislation whatsoever, put the drop boxes and mail-in ballots during the COVID fiasco? Well, unfortunately, there was illegal legislation, which was contrary to the Pennsylvania state constitution. Doug Mastriano, one of the authors, by the way, and they held up everything. They upheld everything the Democrats wanted. Somebody says, Bob, LTS every day. Lovely was actually on an episode of the Brady Bunch. Was she? How about that? I was just a little kid, but I was so happy that she got off that island, says Joe from West Side. Oh, I love it. I love it. Somebody said, I totally get the Navy guy's reference. Not somebody, Scott the Slabjacker. He's talking about the band camp girl, the little ginger in American Pie. Come on, man, get with the times, LOL. Love the show, Scott the Slabjacker. All right, so somebody else knows it, but it's an obscure reference. I'm sorry. Hey, there's a golf tournament for St. Joseph's. It's been going on for years, and my brother Ron runs it, and here he is to talk about it. Ron, welcome. How you doing? Are you there? Brother Ron. All right, he's going to have to call back, just like anybody else. Let's go quickly to Joe from Berwick. Hi, Joe. Let's get you in before the commercial.
Okay. Well, Bob, here's the thing. Sun is shining. The birds are singing. And Bob Cordaro's on the radio. It doesn't get much better.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Joe.
So you were talking about these organizations earlier that are just basically money laundering political front groups, right?
Yep.
Well, it's actually much more sinister than that, and I think the chief, the real devil behind this is the former president. You know his name. What they always claim to do with this nonsense of nonviolence and whatnot. What they do is they go about removing social consequence for sinful behavior, especially for young people. And here's why that is really bad. You know as well as I do from talking to so many men in prison, there are so many men, especially in urban areas, growing up without a father, without family structure, without any kind of social construct really that challenges them or holds them in check when they're going off the rails. And then, of course, they end up in prison. And then they turn around and say, oh, racism, everything else, and ignore. Well, many of these men, I've known them, you've known them, when they start to reach their 40s, 50s, and they have spent what we call life on the installment plan. They spent their whole life in and out of prison. they suddenly look back and realize this, and they say, somebody should have corrected me. And yeah, they should have. But as it were, these organizations, like the very ones you're talking about, going about and doing things like gathering information on how many students are being expelled, what ethnicity are they, and then gathering this information and affecting really bad public policy, saying, "See, this just proves there's racism in schools," and they tear down even more of what little bit there is left.
And Joe, everybody has the right to either give money to these groups, and whether you do it out of guilt, you do it because you're a sicko also, or whatever your reason, you have the right. The problem is they're getting money from groups like the Obama Foundation. People gave money to say, hey, let's honor President Obama's legacy. And they took millions of those dollars and gave it to these insane groups. And then that's what these guys do. They fund each other continually, and so many of them are getting government money, taxpayer money. It's insane. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, well,
hey, we got to go, my
right.
man. I apologize.
Okay.
But thank you.
Oh,
You're right. These
Thank
organizations are the danger to this country. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Eric Clapton. Murph said he had the number one hit this date, 1974. I Shot the Sheriff. Bob Cordaro back with you. Before that, the appointment of Amy Coney Barrett by Donald Trump. She's been mostly good. A couple of decisions I just sort of... But you have to remember, you appoint a conservative justice of the Supreme Court, and their philosophy is, I'm not supposed to get involved unless it's clearly unconstitutional. So they're going to disappoint us sometimes. By the way, during the break, Bill from Pittston dropped off, friend of ours and friend of the show, the 107 Days by Kamala Harris. And I told Bill, I said, Bill, I said, the proof that I read this over the weekend will be that I'll come in on Monday and my mind will be mush. Yeah, I'm going to get dumber reading Kamala's book, but thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. So I thought I had him on before, but he wasn't paying attention. But he's here now, brother Ron Cordaro, and he's got a golf tournament going on that has an incredible tradition and benefits St. Joseph's Center. Ron, welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
All right, talk to
33 years, Bob. Can you believe it?
Amazing.
It's unbelievable.
And that means my nephew, my godson, would have been what, 35 now? 30 something
35.
like that. Yeah.
Yep. 35. Yep. We had a change of venue this year, which
I love it.
Some people are. I actually like it because it's only 9 holes versus the 18, and it makes 18 is a long day. We're only doing 9 holes. We changed the venue from Glenmara to the Marjan because the Glenmara they have a greens project going on, and we weren't able to have it there. But I thought, what better alternative but than to go to the Marjan? And one thing, it's not the same course, but the food will absolutely be better. Johnny's making his homemade sausage. I think they're making homemade pasta. The food will be better than Glenmara. Let's put it that way.
Well, the food's great at Glenmara, but nothing like the Marjan. I'm telling you, the Marjan.
Absolutely.
It's a different category. Let's do it that way. It's a different category, and it's awesome at Marjan.
And I try to make it easy. We're doing it on a Saturday afternoon. This way, I think it's a 1 o'clock shotgun. If you need to do something Saturday night with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever you have to do, you have time. You could play the match, go through whatever we do, and then you'll have plenty of time to get to do what you have to do. So it's different.
So
and,
Saturday, what? October 4th?
October 4th, a week tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, a week tomorrow. So we'd still do have openings. We'd appreciate anybody wants to come up. I picked out some beautiful a beautiful pullover that actually your son Michael co-sponsored. And he's really happy about it. I'm hoping he could play, but they just had the baby, so I don't know.
Alliance Wealth Advisors, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so next Saturday, 4 o'clock.
No.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Anybody wants any details, they can feel free to call me at Dunmore Lumber, and we'll be happy to accommodate your needs. If you want to be a sponsor, you want to play, and it's a 2-man, so you don't necessarily need 4 guys like you would have to in a captain and crew. This is captain and mate, 2 guys, and if it's only you, we have some singles that we could certainly pair you up with.
So you call Dunmore Lumber 344-1271. You could get into the tournament next Saturday at Marjan, Saturday, October 4th, or you can sponsor. Or just donate to St. Joe's. Either all 3 options. Yeah. Correct.
Absolutely. We're here. Just give us a call if you have any need, and I appreciate the time, Bobby.
I think this is a great change. It refreshes the tournament, and I love Marjan. You know that. We all.
I love it too. Yep. It's so much fun to play.
Yep.
It is.
All right.
So, all right, Bob. Thank you so much.
All right. The Anthony J. Cordaro tournament, October 4th, 1 o'clock, next Saturday at the Marjan. Like Homer Simpson, I said, I'm salivating thinking about the food and the homemade wine. I just am. It'll be great. Well, let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back. We've got a Veterans Tribute, and we've got more. And in my hot little hands from Bill from Pittston, I've got 107 Days by Kamala Harris. I want to see how many brain cells I lose reading it. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And as we head into the weekend, we got to think of one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality. You want to check out a bar, restaurant to watch a game, hang out, have an event? Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. Far Street Tavern, the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. All outstanding. By the way, Sergey's Live, the early time is for me. I get out of there about 11, maybe earlier. But it's great. Sergey's the nightclub. And it's right beneath Atera 519 where Cutie and I were last night for a little happy hour. Finest of fine dining anywhere. And add to that the incredible Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. Love it. Ralph Smolanak. He was just 74. He was from Mountaintop. We lost him September 14th. He was raised and educated in the Trevose area. He served us in the U.S. Navy. In the 90s, he was a vice president of the Crestwood Wrestling Club while his sons were doing it. An outdoorsman, loved to hunt, loved all Philly teams. He'll be greatly missed by his loving wife of 53 years, Kate Smolanak. His children, their spouses, his cherished grandchildren, his adored great-grandchildren. He also leaves behind brothers, nieces, nephews, a sister, and many other family members. Ralph Smolanak. Donald Wills, affectionately called Don, he was from Simpson. He was born there, raised there, proud graduate of 40 Fort High School. This is the Simpson in Luzerne County. He was further educated at Wilkes-Barre Business College. Answering the call of his country, Don served in the United States Army during the Korean War. He demonstrated his courage and patriotism that would be the hallmark of his character throughout his life. When he came home, he embarked on a career of farm work at Sordoni Enterprises. He moved to Georgia. Then he worked at Muskin Pool. He returned to Pennsylvania. He was a crossing guard in Millville. His conversations with his children helped cross the streets were moments of joy he treasured until his retirement in 2023. He was an active involvement with St. Vincent de Paul, the Holy Name Society there, and it was an extraordinary minister. He was a member of the Lions Club, Christ the King Church in Benton as well. He married the love of his life, Mary Williams, and they built a family filled with love and laughter. He was a beloved husband, father, grandfather, leaving behind his devoted wife, Mary, their 3 children, his adoring 7 grandchildren, and his cherished 6 great-grandchildren. Don Wills. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, morning clouds, then mostly sunny, 77 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, 58 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny with a chance of showers south of Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, 77. Sunday, partly sunny, 77 as well. We've been talking about this Comey indictment all morning. I think it's important. I think it is a threshold that we needed to cross. That's the Guess Who, by the way. Murph says this date from they moved from number 13 to number 10 with their hit Clap for the Wolfman. Well, we've got a federal legal expert, a career federal prosecutor finishing in the District of Massachusetts. His career culminating in the prosecution, the successful prosecution of Whitey Bulger, where he was lead counsel. Attorney Brian Kelly is with us. Brian, how are you?
Good, Bob. How are you and the listeners in Pennsylvania?
Well, great to have you back, my friend. Give us your thoughts about this Comey indictment. It is groundbreaking. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it that it is extraordinary. There's never been a director of the FBI indicted, to my knowledge. So
J. Edgar Hoover should have been, but that's another story.
That's a different story for a different day.
Yes.
But, look, so I was a federal prosecutor for a long time. I've taken a look at this indictment. I don't want to throw, a wet blanket on people's enthusiasm, but it's pretty bare bones, which is not unusual to have just a 2-count indictment and to not really put in a lot of the facts or anything like that. But they're hanging their hat on, it appears to be a statement that he made to Senator Cruz, that he had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source to the news. Now, there's two big things. In these false statements cases, you got to prove it's false, obviously, and you got to prove it's material.
Mm-hmm.
And material, it will probably be easy. I mean, material means if I go in and testify in front of Congress that my middle name is Tom when it's not, I mean, that's not material. It doesn't affect the investigation. Here, they'll probably need to have somebody like Cruz or somebody else testify that his false statement mattered to them. It affected the congressional investigation. So they'll probably be able to prove that. But the question is whether they're going to be able to prove that, he lied when he said he, hadn't authorized someone else at the Bureau to be an anonymous source.
He answered in an interesting way. We played clips of it, Brian Kelly. He said, "I stand by my previous testimony," which means and he's very clever. They're going to have to go back to the previous testimony to prove that it contradicted what McCabe said. And then McCabe's a liar and a committed crimes himself by leaking.
Well, that's the other problem, Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the problem. And the way this count reads is they're referring to, he authorized person 3 to serve as an anonymous source. So person 3 has got to be a witness for the government or they can't prove the case. So if McCabe is their witness, usually the government likes to have 2 or 3 witnesses to prove a falsehood. When I did them, that's kind of the standard. You got to have 2 or 3 people, because if it's one guy like McCabe who will probably start to waffle anyway because he's more of a loyalist to Comey than anything, it could be a mess, is what I'm saying. And I'm concerned that the grand jury did not return an indictment on all 3 requested charges. That's extraordinary.
Oh, I did not know that. I did not know that. Interesting.
That's called a no true bill.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you can't get a grand jury to indict on your counts, something's amiss. So
what was the third charge that they did not move forward with?
I think it was some other supposed falsehood. Okay, that's why in count 1 they refer to person 1 and person 3, and they never mention person 2. So person 2 must have been in the count that was not approved. Mm-hmm. And the point is the grand jury rarely says no. The old saying, a prosecutor can indict a ham sandwich because it's a one-sided proceeding. It doesn't need to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Just has to be probable cause, more likely than not. So they routinely will indict whatever is given to them from the prosecutor. Here, they only gave them 2 out of 3 counts. And the other reports I'm hearing is that the line prosecutors who worked on it, sent up what's called a declination memo saying that we should not charge this because we don't have enough evidence. And
well, that's not unexpected in a case where one of the establishment gods is at risk here.
Yes, that's true. But if they had 3 witnesses
and
instead
it could
of
also
1,
be a CYA thing, by the way, too.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, that's a red flag, and it suggests that maybe they only have the 1 witness. Mm-hmm. And if it's 1 witness against Comey, I don't know. I assume they have more. Maybe they got emails are always quite effective for the government, so they must have Comey's emails where he talks about. Maybe they got the reporters' emails. I don't know.
Brian Kelly, a question on that. The unauthorized leak he gave to his friend, this Columbia professor, was that also against the law, or does that, we played a clip of that, does that enter into this at all?
Well, that's interesting. That was way back when. That was like in 2016 or something. I forget. But
right after he was fired, 2017.
Yeah. And he didn't authorize someone else at the FBI. I think he authorized somebody who's a non-FBI person.
Yeah,
to be an
Columbia
anonymous
University
source.
professor. Yeah.
So that's his way out on that one. But it does show that he was willing to do this sort of thing.
And he was clever in that regard, too, in answering to the senator from Maine. He said, I provided the content of the memo, not the memo.
Yeah, well, that still would sink him because that's giving someone else and it being an anonymous source.
Yeah.
So that would still sink him if they can prove it here. The bottom line is this: people don't know what the evidence is, and frankly, the defendant and his lawyer is not going to know until the government gives it to him. There's something called discovery in a case. The government at some point will have to produce certain transcripts and the emails and the evidence, and then you can truly assess whether it's a strong charge or not. That's the concern here with whether they can prove it. Because if you don't prove it, then you've made the guy a martyr, and everyone says, "See, there was overreaching," and blah blah blah.
And you've got a Northern Virginia, probably heavily Democrat, pro-government and establishment jury pool that's going to make the trial determination as well.
Well, they had to do that rather than the D.C. because otherwise they could have charged in the District of Columbia, and you never have a chance. Although you could remind the jury that Mr. Comey's a Republican, so the supposed partisan witch hunt. They've indicted 2 Republicans.
Yeah, one of our listeners pointed out early that what gives? They said both the people indicted so far are Republicans. I'm looking for Clapper. I'm looking for McCabe himself, although they probably can't because they need him as a witness. I'm looking for Stroke. I'm looking for Brennan. I hope that more are coming.
Well, with McCabe, maybe they immunized him and forced him to be a witness because I doubt he would do it voluntarily. So when the government wants you as a witness and you're not willing to do it voluntarily, they can get a court order of immunity, and then you have to testify no matter what. And maybe that's what is the basis of this charge, because he would be the one who could say, yeah, Comey told me to do it. And then,
then he's guilty. So, well, at least that gets you very close to a guilty. Hey, so they've got, an October 9 arraignment, and I hope you'll follow this for us. And update us. Those were some interesting facts, that there was one of the charges sought was not brought forward into the indictment, and that there was declination from some of the line prosecutors in that office.
And that's why you see at the end of the indictment, the only one who signs it is the United States Attorney herself, the new one, Lindsay Halligan. Usually it's multiple people are lining up to put their signatures on it. So she parachuted into the office and she said, yeah, I'll sign it. And there you go.
All right. Myself, I think they're afraid, number one, even no matter what they think. And they also have deniability now because they didn't get involved directly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's gonna be wild to see how this plays out.
Fascinating. Brian Kelly, career federal prosecutor, thank you, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you on this, because I think it's the first of several, and each of them will have their own process. Thank you, my man.
Yeah, they will. You take care.
All right. Brian Kelly, former U.S. attorney. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Murph says this date, 1981, Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty, number 2 hit would Stop Dragging My Heart Around. And we're going to finish with Robert Palmer, Simply Irresistible, because we lost him to a heart attack at age 54 in Paris, France on this date in 2003. So Robert Palmer will wrap it up for us. Hey, let's go real quick because I've got a lot to do before we close. Steve from Lake Ariel on a patrol this weekend. How are you, man?
Good. Thank you for taking the call. I just want to say Underground Heritage Motorcycle Club, we're having a Teddy Bear Patrol poker run. Registration will be at VFW 6518 Exeter. Sign-in will be 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And riders are $15, passengers $10, and you can walk in at the end. The end stop is at the Getaway. You'll get a map as to where the stops you go for the poker hand. And
that's a great combination.
Getaway West Nanticoke is the final stop. Okay. So even if you don't ride, you could just go there, pay the $10, and it take place in the festivities. Have a good time.
Starting at Exeter, finishing at Getaway, right?
West Nanticoke.
West Nanticoke. All right. Thank you. I wish I had more time, but thank you, Steve. Have a great time with it, and thanks for doing this.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Hey, Tommy P's on patrol, by the way. South Apple Street, all safe, sound, and tucked in. Policeman's prayer for the weekend. My man Nicky DeSanto sent me this long ago. Lord bless the ones who wear the badge, the ones who walk the beat, protect and keep them safe while they are on the street. As they wait and as they watch, doing good for all, guide their minds and give them strength for each and every call. Ready to put their lives on the line, give them courage each day. Let them know you're always there in each and every way. So bless the ones who wear the badge. Protect them from harm. Always keep them safe. And in your loving arms, the policeman's prayer. They'll be between us and chaos, the thin blue line. And to wrap it, in our old girlfriend Doreen Gorieb's obit from a couple of years ago, Tomorrow Never Comes by Norma Cornett Merrick. This is just an urging. Reach out to people you haven't talked to in a while. Reach out to people maybe you had a little uncomfortable time with, whatever. Just to remind you, if I knew it would be the last time I'd see you walk out the door, I'd give you a hug and kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time, I would spare an extra minute or two to stop and say I love you instead of assuming you know I do. So just in case tomorrow never comes and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you and hope we will never forget. Tomorrow isn't promised to anyone, young or old alike, and today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their final wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear that you love them very much, and you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Final mention of our vets. Tribute paid to them, courtesy of our man John Basiliga Hospitality. Attorney Leo McCormick, East Mountain, section of Scranton. Harry Granville, Carbondale. Edward Spider Lyons, Trips Park, section of West Scranton. Edward Trentley, South Scranton. Don Wills, Simpson. And Ralph Smolanak, Mountaintop. Guys, have a great weekend. God willing, I'll be with you next week, Monday, 9 a.m. Let's hope so. Have a safe, fun, peaceful weekend. I'll be reading 107 Days by Kamala Harris, but I won't let it spoil my weekend. You have a good one. We must adjourn this meeting of the Club for Common Sense until Monday. Adios.